everyone, it's Chanel with Color Me Stylish, and thank you so much for joining me for another video. This week it is going to be the home edition. So I love decorating the home and just kind of sprucing it up with different ideas, or I'm the kind of person that if I see something on Pinterest or even in a high-end store, I love to kind of come home and remake that look for a lot less. So that's what I'm going to be doing in this video, is kind of showing you guys just some simple and easy decorating ideas, either for the living room, the bedroom, or for the kitchen, or wherever you want to put these ideas. They work for offices as well. And I just love DIY, so I like just being able to show you guys to kind of like step by step how I put things together. And then of course I will link either where you can find a lot of these products here in Mexico City or the States, or of course on Amazon if that's more helpful for you. But with that being said, let's go ahead and get started. So to start, I went to a local craft store here in Mexico City and kind of just picked up these beautiful bowls. I loved the texture, and it goes with the wall that we have in our living room with a kind of similar color and texture. So I thought that would be a great addition, just to kind of draw that, pattern throughout the rest of the house. And then I was in another craft store that I was very excited to find. I get overly excited when, especially being overseas, I'm able to find certain places that remind me of home. And this place was like the equivalent of Michael's and Joann's together. I loved it. And then this bowl I picked up at a beautiful local artistry shop that had all silvers and just different items for the home. So I definitely wanted to incorporate that as well. So just kind of picking up, this kind of styrofoam that's great for, floral arrangement, and just kind of cutting that out. I knew that the silver bowl was going to be a little bit tricky just because it's a little bit more shallow. So just kind of fitting it. And I love this foam because you can kind of push it down and make it fit, and it kind of molds to that bottom part. And then at, again, a local craft store, I picked up these lilies. And so the idea was, I've been in stores where, I've seen these arrangements and they're amazingly beautiful, but they can cost up to $500 or $600 depending on where you buy them from. So just kind of, you want to just kind of go in, and just cut, and measure where you want, or how tall you want your flower arrangement to be. So just kind of, I love that they have those little grates so you know where to put them or where to cut. So I just kind of wanted to measure out by eye how tall I wanted this to be. And I loved the pink going with the silver because it had that really nice contrast. So just kind of, going in. So just to kind of make the styrofoam fit a little bit better, I used some scotch tape or duct tape and just kind of taped it towards the bottom and then across the top as well, just to kind of hold it a little bit more firm. And especially because these are a little bit taller, you want to be able to kind of, tape towards the bottom as well, like right about there, just to kind of hold them together and give them a little bit more stability with the tape as well. Or you can use dowels or anything else to kind of go in the middle just to kind of hold that together. So I kind of went ahead and did that, and then I picked up some moss, and this is just the decorative moss you can pick up at any craft store, just to kind of cover up the base, and just kind of hide, all of the stuff that I put towards the bottom, and just kind of fill that in. So from something else I had around the house, I had these kind of small little pebbles or river rocks, whatever you want to call them. And I figured I'm just going to kind of recycle from something else that I was using in this bowl and just kind of add it to this, just so this one can have a little bit more, of an earthy texture and look to it. And of course with the rocks, because this is more of a shallow bowl, it just adds weight to it. So it just helps it to stay, everything to stay in place, and just to kind of hold down the moss and hold, just everything right there. So it's just, I love the idea of, when I want to redecorate, just using what I have around the house, so that I'm not spending a lot of money. And that's something that you can do too, just kind of continuously recycling, the things that you have in the house for different decor ideas. So for this one, I was able to kind of just stack them up because the bowl is a little bit deeper. And I wanted these, I wanted to kind of just have a more clean white look to kind of go for this one. So they were just perfectly able to kind of sit a little bit deeper and not fall over. And with this one, I wanted to add just a little bit more greenery towards the bottom just to have a different look. Again, I love these flowers, but I love being able to change the look with these flowers so that it can go from kitchen to bathroom to dressing room, wherever you would like to put it. So I just wanted to kind of fill these in with some ferns that I picked up, and just kind of adding a little bit more towards the back just to kind of fill that in, so I didn't have to use as much moss. But again, any of those little spots that were more visible with the foam underneath, you can just kind of go in with a little bit of that moss and just kind of tuck those in certain places. And then just taking a brush that I have that I use for a lot of my crafts just to kind of dust off, anything or any excess. I just love this thing. It's like very handy. But just to kind of brush around and just dust off, any of the areas. And now I am going in with a bowl that I picked up from the craft store. And I love this. It's kind of like that, blingy ribbon, if you will. And just kind of deciding, should I cover the whole thing? Should I cut it in half? Should I have it at the top, or should I change it and have it towards the bottom? I don't know. What do you guys think if this was yours? Because I love this because you can always go back and change it, change the color, anything that you like. And so I was just going back and forth if I should cover the whole thing or if I just wanted to have a tiny piece in the middle. So I just decided I was going to cut it in half and just have it more in the center of the bowl. But just kind of, if you want to use a little bit more foam or you want to cover up what you have at the bottom, then yeah, it's definitely a good idea to cover the whole thing. So just kind of going in with my hot glue gun and just, sticking that in different spots. And of course I kept burning my finger over and over, but it's what it is. For the love of crafting, you'll do anything and just deal with it. So just kind of going in, I just, went ahead all around just to kind of achieve that look. And then I'm just going to go ahead. Oh, and you always see my trusty little mascot is never far behind, but I think he got his attention taken from something else. But just kind of going in, same process of using the foam and just kind of putting that in there just to add some stability when you do add your flowers. So for this part, because it is a glass bowl, I wanted to kind of just cut away some of the areas of the foam because you can see through it. So any part that didn't, lay flush, I would just kind of cut that away and replace that with the foam, and it still added, that snugness to add to the stability of holding the flowers. And a little trick that I like to do, especially because foam does kind of get a little bit bigger when you wet it and you can spray it with water. But because this is inside the home, I like to use Febreze and kind of spray the moss. So it's doing both. It's kind of expanding it, making it a little bit more moist, but then just adds that beautiful scent of whatever you want to add to it, whether it's Febreze or perfume, so that you just add to that smell in the home. So I picked up these broader leaf, just plants at the fabric store, so I kind of wanted to have like a fanned out look towards the sides and towards the back, just to kind of add a different look. And I just love these because I was able to just kind of change up the looks for each of these arrangements. And so just kind of adding that in and just making sure that it's sticking in there and a little bit more snug, so just kind of turning around so you guys can see just how I arranged the back. And yeah, it turned out really cute. I really like it. And then these balls, so I've seen some of, you know, the arrangements where they have like, you know, the balls with the moss or even just different vines, things like that wrapped around them. And it's great because if you want to add a little bit more dimension or a little bit more height to your arrangement, you can do that by just adding it and just, you know, adding the moss. And I used, you know, hot glue gun, or you can use any glue that you like, and just kind of stick that on there, and it just added just a different texture, a different look. And again, you can use moss, you can use vines, you can use just about anything that you like, and I'll incorporate, you know, some ideas so you guys can see some other ones as well. And then I decided to add a little bit more color dimension and texture with the extra vines or the fern plants that I had from the other bouquet that I had. So I loved how these turned out, and they're all so different. That's what I loved. And these would be great for if you are entertaining, you know, and you just want those centerpieces, or even for a wedding if you're doing more DIY to save money. This is a glass one that I picked up that I had for a while. So again, that one had more of the gold and just moss, where the white had more green and white. And it was just nice to be able to be on the terrace and just look out and enjoy the view, and just kind of be able to do my crafting. So for this next one, this is an idea that you can use anywhere, either a kitchen, an office, just about anywhere, and you can add whatever you like. So I went down to the Palacio. It's a really nice store here, but they have an outlet, and these were about 50% off. So I picked up these jars, and we always collect our wine corks. So we have a ton that we left back in Oregon, but we're kind of starting over now in Mexico City, and I don't think it's going to take that long to fill up this jar. But I love these because they kind of just remind me of, you know, either a favorite restaurant that we've been to, or we used to live in Argentina. So just being able to see a lot of those memories and remember where a lot of these corks came from, or the favorite wines that we like. And again, these jars can be filled with anything that you like to add to that decor. So I just kind of wanted to add corks to this one, and then just kind of see over time, or when we do move, just how full it will get. Maybe we'll have a couple of these jars. I do think so when we're done. So that's a good option. And then for this one, I decided to use just dry beans, and just kind of get them in the three different colors, just to kind of add that dimension and fill it up. So just kind of starting with the black ones. And again, there's nothing that will be wasted, because you can just kind of cover this and use it in the future. But I wanted to add a dimension, so just kind of shaking it towards, you know, the side to have a slant, so that when I added the next color, it can just add to that texture as well. And so just, you know, creating a shape to it as well. So I like how that turned out, where you can just kind of see the different colors. You know, it just adds to the texture, that it goes from, you know, dark
dark to a little bit lighter to, you know, just like the white beans, things like that. And again, it won't be wasted, it will be used. And that's the fun thing with this, is you can kind of keep changing it depending on what you're in the mood for. If you want to put, you know, just different color beans in there or just anything else. And then for this one, I decided to, because I knew these were going in the kitchen, I wanted to keep them kind of kitchen based, if that makes sense. So for this one, I filled it with some pasta. And, you know, again, I think I'm going to add to this because you can add yellows, you can add, you know, the green pastas, the red pastas. You can just add so many different dimensions and colors. And again, nothing is to be wasted, even though it is decor. You know, I can use this. And so I decided to kind of just cover it with some saran wrap at the top, just so that it doesn't go stale or, you know, no bugs or anything like that. So it's clear, it doesn't take away from the design, but nothing will be wasted because it is food. So, you know, as you know, I decide to, hey, I wanted to use that pasta, it's right there, I can use it and then fill it up with something else and maybe change the color. So that was the kind of look of something a little bit just more minimal, you know, clean lines, things like that, but still just added, you know, a simple design to the kitchen counter. And so I decided, you know, I wasn't sure either on the counter there, or I decided to kind of move them and put them on top of this counter just to kind of add some depth, since it was a little bit taller over here. So, but I liked how it turned out and that I can keep adding to it. That's the fun part. And then the plants, I mean, they just add to the home. So, you know, I kind of added some to the living room, and I just loved how those turned out, and they're just beautiful and classy, and just kind of go with some of the decor that I already have going on. And then this one I added to my bedroom, so I really liked that one. I needed something more cleaner lines. I loved the green, and just it had the perfect spot where I wanted to put it. And for this one, I decided to just leave it on top of the bar that we have in our loft, just to kind of add a little bit of that feminine touch. And then for this one, because we have a shorter table, I thought that this was nice, that you can really just get the whole visual right when you walk in to this loft.
I thank you again for joining me this week. I hope you found everything, you know, just helpful and just some new ideas. If you have any questions, I would love to answer them, and I do get back very quickly. Go ahead and leave your comments down below. What did you think of these ideas? What would you add to it? Or what would you love to see in another one of my videos? Go ahead and leave your comments down below, and I will see you guys next week.